Okay, so we received a picture and some notes from Anne, who's planning to move some things. She's planning to move that lilac. That's a dwarf lilac, Miss Kim dwarf lilac. And in the background is a gold leafed, or supposed to be gold leaf 9-bark. And as Anne explains it, she put them there before she realized how big they were going to get. She's been pruning them every year after they bloom in order to keep them small, but they're still as tall as a soffit, and that's not where they want them to be. They have to go. She also didn't realize that, although it doesn't look like it in this picture, remember that sun hits even shady places once in a while.
Yeah.
It's quite shady there, so the lilac doesn't bloom well, and the 9-bark doesn't develop much leaf color. So on all counts, they're down, but they're nice shrubs, and she'd like to keep them. So she's got a bed cooking for them. She's smothering a bed and wants to move them. She said, what do you suppose we should do? Should I cut them down? Should I root prune them? What should I do? So you want to run through while I get a drink?
I would decide, first of all, if you tie them up now, you can see what area you want to root prune and decide how big of a root ball you have. So I would, number one, tie it up and look and decide how big of a root ball do you think you could handle. Is it capable? Some of these big shrubs, the root ball is so big, you're not going to be able to take it out anyway.
Unless you do it bare root.
Unless you did it bare root.
So what Steve's saying is it's easier to tie up a leafless shrub where you tie a rope like a clothesline rope to one branch, and then walk around the plant tightening and cinching it in so that the branches are out of your way and you can work at the base.
And you don't have to worry about this foliage.
Yeah, it's likely that the size of root ball that you're going to take is going to be you're going to be cutting quite close to the stems in order to root prune. And that's what we do. We tie it up and root prune it at least halfway around the open side now. Don't cut it back now. Let it have all the leaves that it's set up to have, because more leaves means more energy to grow more roots. And what you want it to do between the time that you root prune it now and the time that your bed is ready done smothering in late August is you want it to grow lots of new roots into the chopped up stuff that you did when you root pruned it. Then you can tie it back up again in August, cut the rest of the way around, and roll it onto a tarp or a cart and take it to its new place.
You could also decide to cut it down and take it
we moved
without much on there.
Yeah, we were accused by neighbors of moving dirt from one part of our yard to another part of the yard because they thought that clump of roots that we were moving around was just dirt. I said, no, that's not dirt. That's a shrub. I cut it down hard.
And you can do the same with the 9-bark. And when you tie it up and you first look at it, you go, that's way too big. You have options of cutting young pieces out of
right.
there.
You might find that you've got a rooted sucker. The dwarf lilac, Miss Kim, doesn't sucker from the roots so vigorously as the common lilac and the French hybrid lilacs, but it does lay down its wider lower branches will get pressed down by the weight of everything above, and they'll root. So you can cut a branch loose and take a rooted piece and put it out there. Shoot, you can make a whole hedge.
Yeah.
Same thing with the 9-bark. It'll layer itself. The 9-bark does not sucker much at all, but those lower branches descend with the weight of the branches above them, and where they lay on the ground, they root real readily. We have a piece of a golden 9-bark out here that I pruned out of someone's shrub.
It takes a while, but they'll grow.
And this process has been described in what we titled Transplant and Established Shrub just recently, where we went step by step on how to do it, the takeoff and the landing. But the first thing we did, we advance.
Oops, sorry.
Is tied the plant up. So there's pictures of tying the canes up. This one isn't as big as what Anne's got, as old as what Anne's got, but the process is exactly the same. And then I cut around to root prune. And I went wide and took bare roots. So I went wider after the first cut and took soil off of the roots to have a bare root plant. In a garden like Anne's got, there are so many other perennials around it. You may not want to have to take apart the whole garden to keep backing up and get the roots. Go ahead and cut them. Move them as they are. We've moved lots of those kinds of things. Just muddy it in well when you replant it. and let it go. That one stood up real nicely in the ice, by the way.
Yeah, and make the hole a little bit wider, at least wider than what it is, and don't bend those roots down. They're spread out.
Yeah.
When you do it, and that's and don't take the hose and spray it on. Don't put a big force of water on buckets usually.
If you put water on with a bucket when you're transplanting, the water will tell you where you have air pockets. You can maybe
There's
see two
one.
places, one there and one there, where the water pushed the soil down because there was enough weight of water to collapse the underground pocket.
Mhm.
And that tells you where to fill in a little bit. So watering with a bucket is better. So that's in transplant and established shrub. And I found that because I said, okay, we just put together, because we lose things.
We lose
what
what we put stuff
Let's see, where
to.
do we put it? We have all these places to put things. I said, well, we moved a shrub and it was a calycanthus, and that's not a common word. So I searched calycanthus or calican. So underneath search results, you see it says your search for calican. I said, okay. And the first one was just an article about sweet shrub. Shrub that I just.
Oh, I can't click on it.
No, but you can click to advance me.
Oh, okay.
It's an article that tells you what sweet shrub. That's the shrub that I moved, that we found out was a lot
Yeah.
bigger than we thought was.
We were expecting about this size.
Yes, it's supposed to be a 6-foot guy, not the hybrid big guy. I said, oh no, that's not the one that I wanted to find. So when you go to the search results, you'll have various pages, and anytime any that say JPG, those are just where we've named pictures for an article with the name of the plant, and they're not going to do you much good, except they'll show you the picture if you click on them. But on the second page of findings, it's transplant and established shrub. I said, there it is. So you put in keywords and you take a look at what comes up. Don't look at if you're looking for an article, don't look at a JPEG answer. But it's a fairly good search thing, and we use it all the time because we can't remember where we put stuff.
Yep.
In the case of, let's see, there we go. In the case of the sweet shrub, it's under big mistake. It's in our big mistake department. But many of them, when they come up, are coming up out of by season.
Right.
I guess we'll come back to that a little bit later. Okay, questions about moving stuff around? Steve and I are warring between the mouse.
I didn't do anything.
Mouse and
just-
the arrows.
It's not my fault.
I think we only have one right now. And Judith is saying, does the transplant suckers method work with Rose of Sharon? She's got loads of suckers on hers.
If it's a sucker, yes, it'll work. Make sure it's a sucker and not a seedling.
Yeah,
'Cause
Rose
those
of
are-
Sharon throw a lot
Of seedlings,
seeds.
and the seedling's not going to be the same as the parent plant. Many of the Rose of Sharons that are the best Rose of Sharons are bred for bigger flowers or darker colored flowers or lighter colored flowers. So make sure that it is actually a suckered branch, because they will lay down and layer themselves. They don't generally sucker off the roots, but they'll layer themselves pretty readily. I've seen them.
So I think that's all we've got for this round, though I'm curious where that photo is. Were we with you for that photo? I don't remember.
It was in the town that was both French and English,
Oh,
New Zealand.
right.
Along in that. That's
Yeah, in Akaroa.
gorse.
Yeah.
The gorse is back there. Whoops. Yeah, that's all the gorse that's everywhere.
Yes, the differently colored village.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
actually, Carol says about the flushing the soil. An afterthought on flushing the soil, would the heavy spring rains help that?
They help, but they're not enough. 4 inches of water is a lot of water. If you're trying to put this much water on and push it through the soil, and that takes time. I can't remember the last time that we got a 2-inch rain in Michigan, let alone a 4-inch rain. So it's a lot of water. You put it on and you put it on again and you put it on again.
Yeah.
And it does have to be well drained to make that work. That's such a beautiful picture.
I do like looking up